Hello, everyone. Welcome to Word Funk. I am Leon Thomas. I am joined by Austin Yorsky and Johnny Maloney. Guys, if you want to talk about E3, now is your time.
Yeah, I mean, you have to talk about it in a way that can appeal to people who don't care about video games anyway, because it's kind of a general interest podcast, right? Mm-hmm. So you can't get in here and start talking about teraflops and frame rates like some kind of asshole.
Don't know who you're talking about.
But seriously, it probably won't be that much of the show because there wasn't that many new surprises this year. It felt like they're in a weird part of the cycle because the new consoles came out and the games that everyone had prepared for them were released.
Except
and now they're working on the next one.
Except for Microsoft, Austin. Let's be honest here, because they decided to announce their console again.
It's true.
Which is something that I think everybody did last year.
I actually kind of liked Microsoft's presser this year, which is not something I've said in many a year. They came out with a real big focus on games. They had a lot of exclusives. They showed a lot of indie stuff. And the Xbox One X, what they're calling Project Scorpio, which is a way better name. It looks nice. It's also $500?
But don't you know that if you initialize Xbox One X, it spells Xbox.
Yeah, that's really clever and fun. It's also indistinguishable over the phone from Xbox One S, another product they have.
Yeah.
So good luck with that, GameStop employees and moms everywhere.
Congratulations, everybody. Disappointing Christmas lists on the horizon.
Yeah, but I mean, so the things I found personally exciting, Metroid Prime 4, they have a new Kirby game, which appears to either be called just Kirby or has an unknown subtitle that they'll append at some later date. There's a new Yoshi, there's, the Assassin's Creed Origins, which is a terrible name, but actually looks really interesting for the first time in a while, I think. It's Egyptian this time, and it's an open secret. Everyone knows it was a Prince of Persia reboot. That they decided was more profitable as Assassin's Creed.
We're talking about the origins of Assassin's Creed. Like, the video game is about being Patrice Désilets at Ubisoft, saying, I think I'm going to make a new Prince of Persia game, and then the villain steps in and goes, no, I think what you mean to say is you're going to make a game called Assassin's Creed. Oh, and by the way, if you think you're going to quit, then the DLC you buy is that you keep working for them after you quit at the end of Assassin's Creed Origin.
No, the DLC is Vivendi shows up on the horizon threatening to buy Ubisoft, and they have to scramble and do a collaboration with Nintendo where they cross over Raving Rabbids with Mario to keep the ship afloat.
Yeah. Speaking of Mario, how do you feel, Austin, about the dark knowledge that Mario's been nothing but an animated corpse all this time, possessed by a hat?
Jesus. Guys, there's so many existential questions coming out of the Mario universe this week. A, he has a gun.
Yeah.
In Rayman Rabbids Kingdom Battle or whatever. And he can possess the bodies of seemingly any sapient species or sentient species. Like, he's just mind-jacking people in New Donk City.
Yeah. New Jack City is like some weird kind of Matrix.
Else, but...
Yeah. Where it's just people just plug in and take what they want.
Not just people, T-Rexes, Maui head statues. Like, he's basically what's that movie with Denzel Washington, Fallen? Is that it?
Virtuosity.
Okay, never mind. There's a movie about
The Book of Eli.
Who surfs through bodies, and it's
Remember the
good.
Titans?
Jesus, that's just gonna be how this is now, huh?
Man on fire.
The one thing I took from E3, because it just pops up in my timeline, is that Microsoft said, here's our expensive new rectangle. It has all the RAM and all the bytes. And everyone was like, ugh. And then Nintendo says, check out my hat. And it was much better.
It's a rectangular prism because it's a 3D shape. So
I'm still not. This is the thing. I'm not convinced that Mario just hasn't been the hat all along.
I feel like that would be a weird retcon. I feel like here's what's going on. I'm almost positive that Mario is just going to find a new hat and it has eyes. And it's going to give him magical powers, and that's it. It's not, or he's going to discover his hat always did have eyes. But I don't think it's where they're going to say Mario has always just been the hat. I don't feel like that's going to be a thing. I mean, that would ruin the Super Mario Super Show canon.
I mean, so in New Donk City, it's been revealed that the mayor is Pauline from the original Donkey Kong arcade machine. Mm-hmm. So it's possible that this is a different timeline where she wasn't murdered by Donkey Kong at the end of that game, which everyone knows happens when you get to the kill screen, which is why they call it the kill screen. A little known fact about arcade games. So maybe this is just a different timeline altogether.
Oh, I didn't know that New Donk, the city, was a real thing. I thought that was a joke people were making.
No, that's the name. And I still have not figured out whether or not that's in New Donk State. And whether or not it's actually, I need to know these things. I also need to know whether or not it's named for an original city in England simply named Donk.
Okay. I thought it was like a joke about New Jack City, but I guess it's an actual game. All right. That's fine.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's easy to lose track of what we're joking about and what's serious because this whole thing is so absurd. Like Mario's running around in a real city.
But let's be clear here, Austin, is the E3 has become ridiculously absurd, like regardless of whatever content is involved.
The press conferences or the actual event? Because the event is they just let all the normies in, and apparently it's hell on earth.
I'm talking the press conferences. I mean, anybody who obviously even took a whiff of what Devolver Digital was selling, like that's E3 now.
Yeah, I didn't actually watch that. I heard it was funny, but it was on at like 2 a.m. or some shit.
Yeah, they scanners like a mannequin head.
Yeah. It's weird. Also, Bethesda's was like at midnight. I don't know, man. The whole thing was weird this year. But I mean, a couple other quick game announcements. Wolfenstein-the New Colossus, which has already kind of become I want to say clickbait, like think piece fodder, because it's about America if the Nazis won and also the KKK is there. And you're just murdering the shit out of Nazis. And there's a bunch of gifs of like clips from the trailer, and then it says so much for the tolerant left, or just like pictures of YouTube comments for the trailer where it's like, oh, so you just kill people who disagree with you.
The comments are pretty.
Yeah.
Oh man, shooting Nazis again.
I mean, there's not much else to say, right? Wolfenstein the last one was a very good game, and if you're ideologically opposed to its premise, then maybe that says
hatred. That says something about you, I think.
Like they do make games for you. They're not good, but there's like that one where you can like beat up feminists or whatever. That was anyway.
Yeah,
like, find your own
ones
market.
That say like triggered lol in like the pitch.
Oh, and there's that Cyberpunk game. Did you guys see this milkshake duck?
Yeah, the last night. Oh,
yeah.
Oh man, I don't know what to think about any of that jazz, because that's kind of like, I'm of the opinion that if you do something shitty when you're younger, like you should be able to apologize for it. But then there's also the question of like, what do you do about a real apology versus a cynical apology? Because they're like, oh wait, that might actually impact whether or not I can make a living.
Wait, who is the new milkshake duck? I missed it.
Okay, so first of all, for the audience, milkshake duck is a phenomenon in which you think something looks really cool and then you find out they're racist.
Yeah. Even I, in my uncool ways, stumbled upon that recently, but I don't know who's the new one. Who is the new milkshake duck?
So there's this cyberpunk game. It's called The Last Night, and it looks really cool.
Yeah.
Like everyone who saw the trailer was like, "Damn, that looks cool. I'll look into that." And then they looked up the guy who's making it, and he's an avid Gamergate supporter. Said a bunch of hateful stuff online, and then you look into the premise of some of his work, and it's like, in a world where feminism has gone too far, and it's like, dang it.
and then like within hours of the internet digging that shit up, because that's what the internet will do, right? I mean, if you fart wrong at a funeral and then
get you.
Say something nasty say something nice a couple years later, people aren't like, hey, aren't you the one that cut the cheese at that funeral that one time? And it's like all over Vox.com. So within hours of that, he was like, no, that's not me anymore. I really need to apologize for. And he was like, I know that English is not his first language, but
Oh.
he was very general in his apology. It was like, because he was on the whatchamacallit, he was on the PC gaming show, which I only watched the highlights of because it's been notoriously long in the past, and I just didn't want to give over that much of my life. So when he got on the PC show or the PC thing and was like, "Ooh, I just want to apologize for some tweets I said in the past. Sorry." And on the one hand, I'm kind of like, all right, you're allowed to recognize that you're a shitty person and then turn the boat around and start traveling in a new direction, but convince me.
It's weird because...
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. No, it's fine. I was just going to say that, like, he may not actually believe it in his heart, and there's a certain limit to which, like, maybe it's just not our business if he's had a private change of heart. I don't know, because we talk a lot about separating the artist from the art, and everyone has their own, like, limit of what is acceptable for you personally and what will be a barrier to you buying it, and then that's just between you and your God.
Yeah.
But it's a little... The line between, like, hey, just apologize for the shitty thing you did, and, like, make a public, like, pillaring of yourself. We want to see blood in the streets.
I don't want to see anybody, like, have rotten fruit pelted at them or anything like that. But again, like, God, it's so easy to be so cynical these days, right? It's so easy for someone to say, "Oh, geez, I'm sorry, I did a shitty thing," and to be like, "Oh yeah, now you're sorry."
Well, the thing is, it's a mess. But here's the way I feel about apologies. If you say, like, if there's like a lot of evidence of like some shitty things you have done or said in the past, if your apology is like, "I don't believe that anymore, my bad," that's kind of brief. Good apologies are, you say, like, "Here's why it's wrong, and here's why I'll never do it again," like, explaining, because I've had to wash away some shit that I don't want attached to me anymore. Like, I get that. It's you kind of have to be specific, is what I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
So,
you have to own it.
Yeah, you got to be like, okay, here's specifically why it was bad.
Sorry, go on.
No, that's basically it. I mean,
I was just gonna
say
this is why the whole, as far as I'm concerned, this particular movement that I refuse to dignify with its actual name was so pervasive to me, though, is because it treads so hard to advertise itself about being integrity and honesty, and I could really see how somebody who maybe didn't want to dig too far below the surface could be convinced into supporting it for like the wrong reasons, because it branded itself really well, and it's...
Yeah, I mean, there's people who think the Earth is flat. Like, yeah, obviously they're going to get supporters. You can believe anything.
So
yeah,
there's a big part of me where it's like, I can see how good people can be roped into shitty ideas because you think that it's, you think that you're in the right about it, and
yeah, we've had the you can be a good person with bad ideas conversation before. Where I landed on that and continue to is, you can be a good person with bad ideas, but at some point you have more bad ideas than good. Like, I can sit here and say, like, Norman Bates sure did like his mother. That's one good thing about him. But like, at some point,
taking the nuclear option.
Yeah.
That's why skeleton memes are important, because at some point you have to start questioning your ideas. Anyway.
Okay. Oh my god.
The thing that actually is the biggest bummer about this is that the game looks pretty cool, but after digging into it a little bit, it seems clear that he doesn't really understand the core of cyberpunk, and that's not unique to him. I think actually most people probably don't really understand the genre.
Oh,
it's about the punk part too, y'all. Like, it's not just like the future is cool. It's anti-corporate. It's like not quite anarchist, but like it can be. People seem to be just like, oh, it's sci-fi, right? But with climbing into tall buildings and like swords. No, it's like cyberpunk is kind of a more specific thing that I feel like a lot of people don't remember or care to know. Maybe I'm just coming at it from a very political angle, but
No, you're absolutely right. You know, there's a lot of things, especially these days, I find that are trying to masquerade as being cyberpunk without actually walking the walk.
I love that you guys are like not even realizing you're doing it. You're cyberpunk gatekeeping right now. I know you don't mean it that way, but it comes across.
No, it's just
used to mean something.
It's a misapplied label. Is what it is, you know.
Fair
like it, and it's obviously, you know, I don't even necessarily know if he's saying like if they're marketing like as a cyberpunk futuristic adventure, but everybody's throwing the word around like cyberpunk, and it's kind of like not quite.
Speaking of vaguely futuristic things,
All right.
Beyond Good and Evil 2 had a trailer. It looked really pretty. I'm extremely worried about the continued lack of gameplay from that. If it weren't a ridiculously unprofitable thing to do, I'd say Ubisoft is just trolling us. They keep doing this. Like the last time they showed anything from Beyond Good and Evil 2 was pre-rendered footage, 3 years ago. So what is I realize that's a rhetorical question. I was just like, what are they doing? Nobody knows. But it's good to see that somebody cares enough to pay for that animation at least. I have no particular faith that they're going to do right by that game because Ubisoft is kind of a weird thing right now. They're going through a lot of trouble, and they have a particular way of making games in this decade that I don't think will end up in the same place the original Beyond Good and Evil did, which is it still holds up. I swear to God, I played it recently.
You know, I think this is the thing is I think that Ubisoft does actually kind of unfairly get a lot of flack. Especially when you compare it to its competitors, you know, like when you think about other AAA studios, right? Like Electronic Arts and Activision jump to mind. They constantly kind of basically flog the same horse, like over and over and over and over again. And yeah, I've seen Ubisoft try some new things. You know, like. Say what you will about whether or not you think The Division was a good game, but it was an attempt at something different, trying to rein in like the sprawling nuts attitude of an MMO where like you have, you know, 30 million subscribers who are all the main character, which is just fucking impossible to do.
Yeah.
And a lot of their smaller kind of like middleware stuff, like Valiant Hearts and things like that. You know, like I mean, yeah, they have their sort of bi-yearly like, hey, do you remember Assassin's Creed? We got another one. Hey, do you remember Far Cry? We got another one. You know, but I don't think any of the other AAA companies would have tried something like Star Trek Bridge Commander. Or even Rainbow Six Siege, you know, like this really short, focused first-person versus kind of esports game. Like they do a lot of things that are not like that AAA. So you know, if any one of them, if any of the big names was going to pull off Beyond Good and Evil 2, I know it's kind of a stupid statement. It explains itself because they own it. But yeah. if any AAA studio was going to do it, I would want it to be Ubisoft because I don't think any other company has like even that slight experimental slant to the way they approach their products.
I mean, that's fair, especially with the Ubi Art Engine games, those not indie, but, you know, kind of in the same ballpark indie stuff. But, yeah, I can see what you're saying. The last thing I wanted to talk about before we transition out, I'm looking at the time, 20-something minutes in, sorry, Leon, is the new BioWare IP Anthem.
Which looks just like the most forgettable thing.
It is. What if everyone was Iron Man? Like, what if everyone was Iron Man, guys?
But what if everyone was Iron Man playing
Destiny?
Destiny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure it'll be fun. Like, I don't think that's a bad. It doesn't look bad. It just looks like what if everyone was Iron Man in Destiny, which is probably cool for somebody. It doesn't do anything for me. And maybe that's a bias towards like, oh, what I want from BioWare is Mass Effect 2. Like with Roman numeral and then Arabic numeral, maybe. Yeah. Like, I just want more of that, where I can like meet cool aliens and then we can do bad sex cutscenes. Anthem appears to be where I get together with friends and then we talk shit on headsets while we get loot.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, if Destiny's any indication, people want that, and that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
It ain't me, but it's fine.
Now, talking about bad sex scenes,
I always am.
how do you feel about our boy David Cage coming back?
Someone needs to stop that
With
motherfucker.
Humanity, the worst thing ever, the video game.
Did you see, the interviews he's giving out are like the things I would make up to make fun of him on here. He's like, my vision of the future is very different because in mine, the robots are the good guys and the humans are the bad guys, and no one has ever attempted this in science fiction.
I mean, Blade Runner's not a thing. Never saw that, you know.
He's either trolling or he has literally never seen a movie with a robot in it.
What I am most amazed is that, like, the balls on this guy to show up at E3 when, like, everybody in the gaming industry is talking about, like, you know, creating your own gameplay and having, like, procedural generation and the emphasis on, you know, make your stories your own, right? Everybody's shying away from these, like, heavily narrative experiences. And he's like, to show up at this E3 in fucking 2017 and be like, I got 2,000 pages of script, bitches!
He is. I mean, he has his own vision, and like you can't take that away from him. But it's very tone deaf. He doesn't seem to have any idea of the genre he's working in. He doesn't seem to have any idea of like the broader thematic implications of his. I mean, let's just be frank: slavery allegory set in Detroit.
Yeah,
from a French man. I mean, not that France doesn't have its own complicated racial history, but just like it's going to be a train wreck. It almost certainly is going to be a train wreck.
What amazes me is that it is not being advertised any differently than any game he has ever made.
I know.
You know, like it seems like, you know, there's like, oh, check all these branching choices, and it's like, we've seen this before, David. I recall distinctly you trying to sell us this pie last time you showed up at one of these shows with Beyond Two Souls, and seemingly prior to that as well, with another one that I seem to recall called Heavy Rain. And then, wouldn't you know it, before that, this little game that you made called Fahrenheit, also known as Indigo Prophecy. And weirdly enough, even before that, with Omicron the Nomad Soul. It's like, you've baked this before.
He's nothing if not persistent.
I know, and it just like by now, just that kind of like, don't worry, he's gonna get it like super right this time. Because I can't slag on like absolutely everything in his back catalog. You know, like I never played Beyond Two Souls, but I had fun with Heavy Rain up to a point where it stopped making any fucking sense whatsoever.
But I mean, even Beyond Two Souls did have. I like that game. Like, I'll take that bullet. But it did have a weird section about Native Americans, and like he's got to own that in the same way he's definitely going to own whatever Detroit Become Human ends up being, and it's going to be probably more troublesome than the Native American section of Beyond Two Souls.
Yeah.
Wait,
so that was nice to see. And I got two more things that I want to talk about, and the first being is that who knew that pirates were going to be so popular?
I mean, Black Flag set the precedent, and they had that technology, and so Ubisoft made two of those.
Yeah. No, but then like Sea of Thieves as well, coming from Rareware, you know, which looks goofy and gave us that wonderful gif of good old Griffin McElroy taking one for the team, and you've seen that, right?
Yeah, he ate that stem first on camera.
It was a beautiful moment, and I thank the internet for it from like the very bottom of my heart. And the last thing I want to say too is, Austin, how do you feel about Shadow of the Colossus?
Oh, I mean, I've played it like 3 times at this point, so I don't know if that's for me. I feel like that's the thing that I gotta keep.
They should do it again after this one? After they've done it again this time? Should they do it again?
I think there should be a version of Shadow of the Colossus available on every platform Sony makes, because it's an important game, and I think every generation should be able to play it. It's like one of the most important games ever made.
I totally agree with you there. I wish that video games were much better at keeping keeping their history accessible, and preserved, because it's really easy for video games to trot on its own history, because it's almost like, I don't know, we need to convince you that all the stuff that you have is subpar and crap so that you'll buy like the new stuff, which is obviously better because check out my hair effects. But it just seems so strange that like, because we do have a Shadow of the Colossus, and there was very little wrong with it when it first came out.
And there's an HD like update.
And
of it,
but like again seems really strange. I mean, I was really happy that Microsoft was talking about accessibility to the original Xbox like back library. I was like, oh my god, Ninja Gaiden again? Like, oh, that sounds wonderful. Like that's a lovely thing, and that would warm the cockles of my heart to see that return. But as something to dedicate a team of developers to, updating again when it's sort of like, there's a better way to do this. So that, I don't know, that was kind of weird. I was not super plussed about that. Yeah.
Leon.
Yep.
Hi. You seem
Well,
very quiet.
sorry.
You're so far away. We need you. Come
All
back.
All right.
How are you?
I'm fine, I guess.
I'm done talking about the bad man's gone. I'm sorry.
All right.
What are you doing? What's up? Hi.
No, it's all just kind of calm and fine. Ooh, I exercise more, and that's good. That is a change I made in my life, and it is already like paying dividends because I'm losing weight.
Are you switching up your exercise, or are
No,
you
I'm just doing it more instead of like saying, "Oh, I guess I'll go to the gym on Sundays." No, I'm like, I'll just go to the gym most days because I have free time where I'm like, okay, I have a little free time. Maybe I'll watch something dumb on YouTube instead of work. But now I'm like, I can do that while I'm on a treadmill. So I'm like trying to maximize the utility of my life. So
are you taking rest days, man? Because I don't want your quads to get too blammo.
I rested on Tuesday. So there's that. And I'll be going back to it tomorrow, which is Thursday.
Only on Tuesday?
No,
only rested on.
No, I'm probably not going tonight, but I'm going to take 2 days off and then I'm get back to it.
All right.
When I say I'm exercising, I don't mean I'm like blasting things. Or lifting.
Are you like how much oil is involved, and are you calling other guys bro?
How's your core?
I'm literally just walking.
I need to know about your core.
And not going anywhere.
It's true. The core is probably the most neglected part of the human musculature system.
Oh my God.
You should try and work yourself up to planking for like maybe 5 to 10 minutes a day. Start in small bursts, right?
Oh my God. I'm just trying to lose a little weight so I can fit into better suits. That is the extent of all of my working out. But yeah, it's working well, and I'm dieting better. This isn't exciting, and I'm sorry. my life is just kind of like chill most of the time. I work and then I chill. There's I don't do anything super exciting. I didn't realize the other day. Might have been last night. I realized. I think as an adult, I've never been on vacation. And I don't mean I've never taken a day off. I mean, like, I've never been like, okay, this July, I'm flying to this place, and I'm going to spend 2 days sightseeing. That's never been
you're a millennial, and none of us take vacations.
It's like not a thing I've done. I've gone to conventions, but they're either MagFest, which was nearby. That's not really a trip. Or Con Bravo, which is a trip.
Which is like America Light, though. Yeah.
Or I've gone to Con Bravo in Canada, but that was also work, and remains that. So, I don't know. Like, I'm thinking I should do that, but I also feel like that's a lot of money just to spend on travel and seeing stuff. Like, I try to think of like for this amount of money, I could be doing blank with it instead. That's kind of how the way my brain works. Mm-hmm. So I was thinking of like, what would be cool if I just went to Disney World for 3 days? I mean, that would be awesome. I would go to the 3 parks that I want to for a few days, and I would have a hotel, and I would fly there, and then I would fly back and get on with the regular part of my life, and that would be fun. And I looked into it, and even, if I do it like cheaply, I can get it to under $1,000, for the entire thing, but still, it's like hundreds and hundreds of dollars for 3 days, It just, I don't know. Something about that irks me when I think about, like, for the cost of my rent for a month, it's like, why would I do that? I don't know. I'm very boring, as it turns out. I mean, I'm kind of okay with that. But
I don't know that not going on vacations is boring necessarily. I mean, I know plenty of people who are like, I like to travel, and they're horrible people. Like, I don't want to speak to them. I don't want to see them ever.
For that reason, or for unrelated reasons?
There's a certain element of somebody who thinks that you looking at a bunch of pictures of them in various locations is, like, super interesting.
Because they try
kind
to do
of annoying,
slides.
I mean, I'm not saying that, like, if you like travel, you're a horrible person. I just mean it's sort of like any other hobby where it's kind of like, congratulations that works for you, but I just kind of want to stay inside, put the blankets over my head, and just not cry myself to sleep.
Yeah.
Travel seems like such a bacchanalian excess. And
wow!
I'm sorry.
You went hard. You could have said, like, any fewer syllable way of saying that.
Indulgent. You could have gone with indulgent.
Yeah.
But just
it's just like,
crank it up to 12. Do you? I love you for it.
Everybody, I'm into it. Don't get me wrong. That was very sexy the way you said it. I just feel it was also a lot.
I do kind of feel like I should be posed in a certain way now that we've established it's bacchanalian. So
it's just like everybody I know is working 2 jobs so they don't starve. Like, the idea of, like, taking time off to, like, go just live is it might as well be fantasy. Like, it's fan fiction of a life. I realize that it's possible, but it doesn't seem achievable.
There is a certain amount of privilege that comes with it, where it's it's also like respectfully, it's also the when people say that, I always feel like that's also the argument that, like, a mother gives their children when they say, there are kids starving in China, why don't you eat your dinner? It's like what is that called? The fallacy of limited privation. I may be saying that wrong.
No, I understand what you're saying, though. Just because some people can't doesn't mean no one should be allowed. I get it. Like, I'm not trying to yuck your yum, but
thank you for not yucking it.
You're welcome. Your yum is unyucked. I'm just sharing my weird worldview.
No, it's cool. This has been a fun conversation that I wasn't expecting it to be. I was just talking about how boring I am, and then we were talking about yucking. So I don't know. I'm sorry. I didn't do anything, like, super fun last week. I did something bad. Not like immoral. I mean, like, unpleasant. I don't mean.
I'm sorry. Before we skip too far away from this vacation thing here.
Okay.
There's just, like, there's a couple of questions that I have about it. So you just had this realization that you had never been, like, on a vacation.
Yeah.
Right. Like, you'd never gone anywhere. Did that suddenly, like, spawn in you the feeling that you were like, I should go somewhere?
No.
I should do these things, or was it just sort of like a curious examination of yourself where you were like, how come I don't want to go anywhere and do anything?
What happened?
I mean, that's okay.
Now, what happened was, I was, thinking about, I'm in a pretty good shape, financially. I mean, I'm not rolling in it, but I'm financially secure in a way that I haven't been in the past. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, should I actually do anything with this money, or just let it, just save and, for, the dying times. And then I started thinking, like, it'd be fun if I went to Disney World, and then because I've always wanted to go back, and then again I started thinking about the money involved, and then I started thinking, like, wait, when I went to Disney World I was a kid, and then I started really thinking about it. I'm like, oh shit, I, like, never went on vacation. I mean, not really. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, is that? I mean, I started thinking about it, like, am I weird that I haven't done that, or
no?
Okay.
No,
That's
there's
fair.
nothing weird about that at all.
Okay.
See Austin.
All right.
Literally, I don't know anybody in, like, I'm trying to remember, even like in high school, or like nobody vacations except for maybe to go to a concert over a weekend or something. It's just not. Maybe like once again, it could be just I only hang around with people who are more like me. Right. It's not like I go to the country club to pal around with the 1% or anything. But it's literally just not been an option. So
yeah,
the idea of it is kind of hilarious to me. But I also recognize that's not like that's not everybody, right?
About like the most bourgeois that my social circle gets is that there's like. I know a couple of friends that their family has like a cabin on a lake somewhere in like the British Columbia interior. So when they like go for vacation, they take like the Friday and the Monday off, get in a car, drive up to like fucking Peachland, and then sit in another house for a while and, cook food there.
Oh, and sometimes people go to sports games, which are like we've driven like out of state to like go watch sports. Is that a vacation? I don't think so, but that's the other thing that comes to mind.
I traveled to go to wrestling shows, and that would I thought about that, and it would almost count if that were not my old job. So yeah.
I think you're fine, Leon. I don't think any of that's weird. And if it was, fuck the haters.
Okay.
Staycation for life, son.
Okay. I have two things I want to say, and then I'll shut up for the day, I guess.
I want to hear about this horrible thing that you did the other week.
All right, I will, but I just want to talk about something else horrible real quick, because it'll only take like a minute.
You're in my house now.
All right. Today is the president's birthday, and his tweet was this. Today is my birthday. My wish is for our country to be great and prosperous again. And as soon as I said it, I was like, motherfucker, if you say it out loud, it doesn't come true. You did this on purpose. So, God, he just keeps finding new ways to be shit. And second, the bad thing I did is I went to see The Mummy. And it was... Look,
okay, Leon.
Yes.
Before we get into judgment statements here, okay? Going to see a movie it's not a bad thing for you to do. You don't have to feel guilty about that. The question is, what did the movie do to you?
Right. No, I said like
who did the bad thing here? It's not you.
No, I did. When I said I did something bad, I tried to preface that by saying like it's not immoral that I did something. What I mean is I experienced bad. Like it showered over me. Like the worst.
That's more like it.
Yeah.
Let it all out.
Okay. So, here's let me just summarize the film and like the criticisms will just come about organically. Tom Cruise is 54 years old playing like this like immature army recruit or just it's not super clear, but I think he's ex-army and now he's a treasure hunter in Iraq with an currently army guy, like an actual recruit who is presently in the army, who is much younger than him. But of course, Tom Cruise always just is supposed to appear younger. I don't know.
Yeah.
So he and
to make up for the fact that he's so tall.
Tom Cruise and Tom Cruise's BFF are hunting for treasure that does not belong to them. And they go to this town in Iraq, and the locals don't like them for lots of reasons, I guess, and are shooting at them. And Tom Cruise is in this town with his BFF, and BFF is still in the army, and Tom Cruise says, call in an airstrike! And eventually they're like, yes, that is a reasonable reaction to a conflict that we are creating. And they do.
Well,
and they
You gotta get the treasure, Leon.
Yeah, they airstrike this town. It's not, look, they don't show the bodies of civilians, but I have to believe that not everyone inside of this town is, valid target.
No, Leon, the whole town's full of Frankensteins and werewolves and Draculas and swamp things and creatures from Black Lagoons and...
Oh, yeah.
That's it. You just, that's how it goes.
Yeah. So, Tom Cruise and Tom Cruise's BFF are, they come across a colonel in the army who comes around and says, hey, there's all these explosions. What are you guys doing? And Tom Cruise, who is not in the army now, apparently, gets like a brief reprimand, and it's like who under whose authority is any of this happening? So anyway, not the point. The point is,
why are they there? I mean, I know
Tom
that
Cruise
there.
Tom Cruise is looking for treasure under the town. He thinks that there's treasure there. So Tom Cruise is then visited by a woman who is in her early 30s, who Tom Cruise just conned into having sex with him, like under false pretenses. This was not like a romantic connection. He just wanted to steal something from her, so he convinced her to have sex with him under false pretenses to steal a map or something that got him there. So that's gross, on top of everything else that just happened. And this is like the first 15 minutes of the film. Mm-hmm.
So they're really doubling down on the, what's the word I'm looking for? Sympathetic, thank you. Sympathetic protagonists.
Yeah, it's gross, and we're supposed to sympathize with him and think that, like, oh, he's just a troublemaker, but he'll become less of a troublemaker as the movie goes on. No, he's gross. He's very bad.
He's just a wacky Chris Pratt type.
He's such shit. So anyway, a lot of things. I don't want to go over everything that happens in the film, but a lot of bad movie happens, and then Tom Cruise gets magic powers and kisses the mummy to death. He like pins her down and kisses her until she dies. And I know someone's going to be like, someone always is going to try to defend this as, well, that's how...
I feel like you skipped a lot of plot there. But
no, I know. We only have so much time. Okay. I just want to hit the worst parts. Yeah. I know someone's going to try to defend that as, that's just how mummies kill each other. And it's like, yeah, but... I know, but that's a thing that people do. They try to take something like problematic in the film that the writer wrote and then justify it by something else that the writer wrote within his own story. And that's
tautology. It's just like it's just bad writing that holds bad writing up. That's all it is, folks.
Yeah, it's gross. So anyway, that happened, and then see what's been going on throughout. The thing I skipped is that Tom Cruise's BFF dies, and it becomes like a zombie ghost who visits Tom Cruise, like in American Werewolf in London. Like the zombie friend just keeps popping up and says, "Hey, man, stuff." So after Tom Cruise sexually murders a mummy, I guess. Like sugarcoat it. The next scene is Tom Cruise is in the desert riding, I think, a horse or a camel, and riding up next to him is the alive BFF, and the alive BFF says, "Hey, thanks for bringing me back to life," and then he launches into what they're doing next. It's like, what? That plot just spilled out all over the place. Like, what did you do? You can't just say that. That can't be just something that happens off camera and as an aside. What are you thinking? Some spoilers, I guess that, I mean, I don't know if this is a spoiler, but I was caught off guard by it. Russell Crowe plays Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde in it.
Good for him, landing 2 roles.
Yeah, it's very good. It's like Peter Sellers. It's I didn't know that was going in because I didn't read any spoilers, but I was like, oh, neat, okay. I mean, maybe he'll show up in the other movies, and then the movie just got worse and worse, and I stopped caring. So this is the first movie in the Dark Universe cinematic thing that Universal is doing.
Is that what they're calling it? The Dark Universe?
They're calling it the Dark Universe. Dracula.
That's awful.
I know. The first Dracula, the Dracula movie from a couple years ago was supposed to be the first one, and then it was so bad that they said they were like Mulligan, and they said
right. And then they did that Frankenstein movie.
Oh, that I don't know if I don't even know if that was supposed to be part of it, but yeah, that ended up not being part of Dark Universe either. But yeah,
gee, I wonder why.
I know, but now this one is hella bad. Also. And the next Dark Universe movie isn't until 2 more years from now. There's nothing that comes out in the rest of this year or next year. But in 2019, Bride of Frankenstein comes out. And that's the next one. So not only was the first Dark Universe movie hella bad, just really disgusting. Also, like, any enthusiasm for this is kind of going to be gone and sort of like waft away over the course of 2 years. You know, I don't know. It's all very bad. I wouldn't. It's hard to say I'm disappointed because I didn't have high hopes for it, but I always hope for good anyway. And it was the worst movie I've seen this year.
Leon,
yeah.
if DC Films has taught me anything, it's that if you just keep at it, eventually something passable will crank out.
It's true. All right, that's what
I'm sorry if anybody's going to, like, hate on me for being like, oh, how dare you only say Wonder Woman was passable. I haven't seen it yet, so I'm not qualified to make any, comment on how good or not good it is. But
yeah, I'm qualified having seen it. I would say it's slightly more than passable, but not great.
Okay,
yeah.
all right.
So good.
Maybe by the time they whittle themselves down to the creature from the Black Lagoon, we'll get, like, that surprise. When people stop caring about it.
Yeah.
And are like, oh, it's not going to happen. And then, they hand it off to some, new upstart director and a guy who's, written a script for a Dr. Pepper commercial or something like that. And they'll just, whip something nobody was expecting out of left field and just be like, check that out.
Yeah, they're actually
and
making
I'll be like, whoa.
They're making a Hunchback of Notre Dame Dark Universe movie. And I'm like, is he really a monster? I mean... I think that's the Isn't that the point of the movie?
Yeah.
or the book. Really,
I think you just volunteered to write that first treatment, Leon.
But I mean, the real monster is humanity's intolerance of people who are different.
Right,
yeah, in my world, the robots are the heroes, and obviously nobody has ever thought of it this way before. I decided to make my pièce de résistance.
Okay. When the credits for The Mummy started right before the Dark Universe logo appeared, it's just
okay. We gotta do something about that. The Dark Universe.
I know.
Look, we gotta jump in front right now and own that. That has to change, and it's gotta come from the people.
What I mean is, the problem is the way it was it was rolled out a few weeks, just before the movie debuted, and when it appeared on the screen, I'm like, "Are you proud of this? Is this something that you're so excited about? This needs to be in front of your movie." And if they do a Hunchback of Notre Dame movie, when Dark Universe pops up, it has to have parentheses at the bottom and say, "But not really."
Can we call it anything else? Can we call it the sort of off black, it's been through the wash a couple of times universe, or even just a word that sounds similar, not the dork universe, because that sounds like the guys who make not another scary movie or something like that are probably going to jump in on that title, and I don't want to be on that boat. But the fork universe or something like that, or
I watch a movie about forks. I assume Pixar is eventually going to do a movie about what if forks could talk. That's just eventual,
probably.
Yeah. All right. I'm done talking about shit. Austin, you've been quiet, and that's fine because I was quiet during the video games. Do you have any law stuff to talk about this week? I always love law.
I have so much to talk about that we unfortunately are not going to be able to get to it all. Both law and there's big news in one of my favorite arenas that everyone else hates, and also there was a new season of Orange Is the New Black that I watched.
I'm two episodes in on that.
Oh, okay.
I haven't finished it yet. But, right. I mean, if you want to say something, if you got something to say, Yorski, you better say it.
All right.
I mean, the gimmick of this season is that there's a riot and the prisoners take over, and so the dynamic is reversed. All the guards are the prisoners and the prisoners are the guards, which is fun, on its surface, and has a lot of potential for...
Sorry, go ahead.
has a lot of potential for social commentary. Unfortunately,
because in my universe, humans are the bad guys.
Yeah, and the robots are
the robots are good.
Can robots feel?
Love? Yeah, I'm obviously.
The problem is that it immediately devolves into sexual assault humor, right out of the gate, and it just never fucking lets up. And it's
I did notice that.
What
even in the second episode, like, you know, right off the bat, they're like cave diving, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, Johnny. Without going into specifics, this is by far the rapiest season, and the show has had rape before.
Yes.
Yeah, but usually it was like, oh, to show the guards are bad, and like I was like heavy-handed, but I'm interested to see what they do with it, and sometimes they failed, sometimes it was okay. This time it's just like everyone needs to be launched into the sun. Mm-hmm. It's not fun, it's not funny, and I'm not sure it earns any particular like commentary. Like, obviously sexual assault is bad, and yes, power corrupts. Like, yep.
Yeah, power corrupts, and that's a fine message, but I feel like that it also, like, unfortunately sends the message that a lot of, like, shitty people, a lot of opinion that a lot of shitty people do, and that's like, oh, the oppressed people, they're just as bad. And try to misunderstand power dynamics. Yeah, that's
it's such a hard thing to do, because like the reality of the situation is, if you gave some prisoners power over their former captors, yeah, they would do heinous shit. Like, obviously, I don't know that that's interesting, and I don't know that says anything meaningful about the prison system. It's also definitely not funny. Which is a problem for a comedy. But like, the actual interesting messages in there about power dynamics and stuff are kind of just immediately obliterated by how shitty and awful everyone's being, and it's like hard to watch. Which is, I mean, I came out hard out the gate on this one. I do think there's good stuff in there. Like, it's funny. I like some of the characters, and they've definitely realized that Piper is the villain, like for most of it at least. So like, there is good stuff in there. I'm not saying this is unwatchable, but that's what stood out to me. It's like, oh, there was some trigger warning stuff before. This is the season of it. It's the bad one. Yeah. I don't know how much more I have to say about it, because it's so unrelentingly dark that when the villain like gets super villainous near the end, it like almost wrapped back around. I was like, oh, it's okay. So it's like a horror movie now is what's happening. Did you finish it, Leon?
Yeah, I finished it. Without going into actual spoilers, because I would be interested in hearing Johnny's full reactions maybe next week. There's an episode that they tried to make funny, and it just super wasn't. And like, all the episodes like have humor in it because it's like a comedy drama, and I get that, but they went parody in one episode. I'm like, oh, you can't do that, because what's actually happening is this. It's weird.
And they bite some very specific recent events. Like, I don't know, like, it's hard not to give it away, but like, there's a thing that happens in the villain's backstory that just happened. Like, it actually happened. It's a real thing. And they'd like give it a backstory that's fake, and it seems like super fucking wrong. Seems like a bad
character
choice.
Is this?
It's like I don't know if I want to get into it too much, but it's like a villainous guard.
Okay, all right. I think I know the one of which you speak.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten there yet. Then
it seems like a mistake. It's not a choice I would have made, at least.
Yeah, there is some good stuff in the season. I don't want to say that I hated it all, but the elements that we're talking about just kind of like tainted all the good stuff. But there is some good stuff. I don't want to completely write it off.
It's also front loaded, right? It kind of reminds me of my Persona 5 feelings, where it's like, yeah, there's a lot of good shit in here, but it's like, it starts off and it's just like 10 hours of rape or whatever. That's Persona 5. Orange is the New Black is like 3 hours maybe before it lets up a little bit. Yeah. But it's like, it's hard to get back into the comedy mindset after that. So it's like a pacing thing too.
Yeah.
I liked Boo this season. I liked Boo. Boo is the least horrible she's ever been this season. Now that I think of it.
It's weird though, because they've all gone through so much and in so little time that it's like they're completely. It's like character development is good, but it's also like, oh, I like this funny guy. Remember when he was a rapist? Yeah. And they're like, it's like, yeah, he apologized, but like he did that like in universe that was like 2 days ago. And so like, yeah, Boo is like funny and charismatic, and like also she like threatened a lot of people and like did some bad shit, and like I don't know. It's the one of the problems of doing serialized dramedy is that the tone is so hard to nail.
Yeah. I mean, I'll still watch next season because I believe in redemption. But if next season continues like this, I might just kind of like Game of Thrones out the way I do with stuff that makes my skin crawl for too long. So we'll see. I used to really love the show. Now I just have feelings about it. And we'll see. Yeah. Okay. Oh, you know what might be happening is much like Genji Cohen's previous show, Weeds. It's gonna hit. It's reaching its nadir, and then it's just gonna become unwatchable. Maybe
that's
I'm
what
wrong.
everyone says about Weeds. I haven't seen it, but it seems like they're both high concept shows, right? It's like, what if someone in the suburbs sold drugs, and like, what if someone in prison thought they were the good guy, but they were actually the worst?
Yeah. And
then there's just only so much you can do with it.
Yeah. The thing with Weeds is that the concept is gone by like season 3. There no. I mean, without giving away everything that ever happens in the show, in case anyone ever wants to watch it, they just leave the suburbs after 2 seasons, and then it becomes this weird road movie where they're at they're like at a new place in each season and under completely different circumstances, and that sounds like it would keep things fresh, but it actually makes things disjointed and without a center. So anyway, that's Weeds. That's all I have to say about that. I didn't even watch the last season. I was done.
I also finished Bloodlines, and the last season isn't as bad as I was fearing. I think it actually wraps a bunch of stuff up in satisfying ways. Though the one thing I'll say about it, besides just like it's pretty well made, and Ben Mendelsohn is the bomb. There's an extended sequence in the first episode of the 3rd season where they play phone tag, where people are just trying to call each other, and it goes on for so long that I just started cracking up. Like, the whole episode is premised on like these 3 people who are in really tense situations trying to get in contact with each other, and it's just like it goes on for so long. I don't think it was supposed to be funny. It was supposed to be very tense, but I was just cracking me the hell up because it reminds me of like when they used to make movies before cell phones, where it was like, we got to get to the payphone. It's like, oh, you won't pick up. And it's like nowadays everyone just has a cell phone. So how do you accomplish that?
Yeah.
And the answer is just to have them ignore each other for drama.
Yep.
It was pretty weird. Okay, so Lost stuff. Oh man, we're not gonna have time. We're almost to the questions. So let me do something a little bit more timely. We'll move Lost stuff to next week probably.
Okay.
They had the biggest announcement in the history of the world's most popular trading card game this last week. Magic the Gathering is getting an MMO, so welcome to 2006. What for Hasbro, you doofus. And also they banned like the most powerful card in Standard, and they've completely thrown out their publishing model, which they used to do what are called blocks. So they're like, next time we're going to steampunk world, and then we're going to horror world. They're throwing out the way they used to do it. Now they're just like, if we have an idea, we're just gonna do it. It's like, it seems maybe like underwhelming when I say it out that loud like that, but it's like a huge deal. It's been 25 years, and they're just
I don't know that it's going to be that huge a deal, Austin.
True.
Like because what it sounded to me like what they were going to do is just change the name.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, fair.
Where they were just going to be like, we'll stop going to worlds, but they're still going to like.
They're still gonna go to Worlds,
themes and shit like that, and it's gonna be the exact same fucking thing, basically.
Yeah.
They're redesigning it, they're retooling it.
I think they're trying to give themselves more flexibility, because it seems like they were going to Worlds where they only had one set of ideas, or they had like 4 sets of ideas, but since they only had 2 or 3 sets usually to do it within a block, that was too restrictive.
Yeah.
And there's also just, they have to fit it into the schedule because they're bringing back core sets, which is a thing that's not worth explaining to a generic audience what that means. So they're moving a bunch of stuff around in ways that might be interesting. And they have revealed the new set, which, 2 new ones. One is called Ixalan, and the theme is, what if Aztecs, but dinosaurs pirates? And that's I assure you, I did not have a stroke mid-sentence. I'll just send you guys a picture of this if you haven't seen it, because it's preposterous. It's dinosaur pirates in like fantasy Aztec land, and the other one is that next year they're going back to the original place, Dominaria, which was like when the game first started in like the early 90s, which is kind of a cool 25th anniversary thing to do. But so, yeah, there's like a huge big deal thing going on in Magic right now, which is interesting to me and probably very few listeners, but it's worth noting. Also, they banned Ether Work Marvel, which is a big deal. So that's Magic the Gathering. Do you guys have any thoughts on doing an MMO in the year 2017? Because that seems like a mistake.
It has not gone over well for the other people who have tried it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, breakout MMOs that have been published in the past 5 years. None of them. You know? Like, everyone makes the front page because, oh, look, the new Conan game has a schlong slider. Or like, there's like one other thing that they're doing that'll be like, and of course every single one when they go free to play is like, oh, by the way, did you know blah is free to play, and everybody continues to not care. So yeah, it like no.
Yeah, I have no idea why, but I uploaded the picture of the dinosaur pirates. If you guys want to see that, It's like perfectly YouTube title card sized.
I like that they went with feathers on dinosaurs. I feel like that's probably scientists say that's more accurate. So, like, welcome to the 21st century, Magic the Gathering. It's too bad you're late on another thing.
God, so late. What are they doing?
That's really late. Do they like? Is there a dev studio that they have tapped for this yet? And what poor sucker did they?
Yeah.
Actually, I suppose I shouldn't say poor sucker because they probably forked over a shit ton of money for them to do it.
Yeah, it's the people who made Neverwinter, the Dungeons and Dragons MMO.
Oh yeah, because that went down in history as being the definitive online experience for Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, it's Cryptic is the name of and it looks like it's a collaboration between Cryptic and Perfect World. Is that the fucking? No, it's not them, is it? No, it is. Star Trek. Okay, yeah, Star Trek Online. And
yeah,
Neverwinter.
that was Cryptic. That was Cryptic. Yeah,
I'm looking at this now. Okay, so yeah, I mean, these people have made.
Despite the fact that I still dip my toes into every now and again when I want a Star Trek experience, was a flawed product.
I did not play it, but I take your word for it.
I started playing Asheron's Call in 1999. So basically, like, I mean, that was last century technically. So
yeah,
we're done. It's over. I mean, it's like MMOs decided on one MMO. Like there's the one that everyone liked well enough that everyone played it, and all the others died out. It's like
This is not entirely true.
Oh, well, tell me about it, because I'm out of touch with this stuff.
Just because, and the only reason why I say it's not entirely true is because Guild Wars did manage to make a blip. Guild Wars 1 and 2 did manage to make a blip, because they did the unusual thing of it not being subscription-based.
Oh.
You bought a copy of Guild Wars, and it was like, congratulations, you own the game now.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, Knights of the Old Republic had a lot of success after they went free to play, and Final Fantasy XIV after the revision has actually been a huge success.
Oh.
Yeah. But this is if you don't come in with a game plan right off the bat that basically says, hey, you should maybe stop paying attention to World of Warcraft for like a month and look at us because of this, you're dead in the water. And, I mean, I don't know if that's going to be Magic the Gathering online. A massively Magic multiplayer online, an MMO?
Yeah, and it's so galling, too, because they have a bunch of digital card games, and they fucking suck. Like, I like Magic. Like, I will go to bat for some things. But, like, I've played Magic the Gathering online. The user interface is, like, DOS level. It's horrendous. And then they have a couple mobile games which some people like. I found them to be unsatisfying, but it's like, oh, so now you're just gonna jump. I know they hired another company, but the idea of jumping into an MMO with your card game property, it has to have been like an old idea that got resurrected. Like nobody thought like, now this is the fresh hotness.
Yeah. Somebody was digging around in the waste paper basket and was like, I got it.
And also, I'm looking at the market they should obviously be in, which is like Hearthstone adjacent, and like that's a fumble. Like, who fucked that one up? That was theirs. That was just served up to them on a silver platter, and they just threw it away.
Yeah.
And now I guess the Elder Scrolls Online, no, Elder Scrolls Legends is in there, and fucking Gwent.
Scrolls.
No, Gwent is in there too now.
Gwent is there too. Yeah.
Oh, guys.
Gwent is surprisingly good.
Yeah, I mean, Gwent is good, obviously. It's like...
but I mean, I say surprisingly good because at this point in time, I've reached the level of cynicism when somebody's like, yeah, I've got a card game, I'm like, okay, what parts of Magic did you copy?
Well, it is the first one. Everyone has to kind of start there. And also, I mean, Yu-Gi-Oh's online game is their mobile game is pretty good, too. I actually stopped playing that, but I am still playing Fire Emblem Heroes. And I just got Tharja, so that's paid off. That's been a long con for me, a long-term investment.
Didn't they announce a Fire Emblem at the E3?
Yeah. Okay, so what's funny is that was announced a while ago, but it seems like every video game journalist forgot because I
forgot.
Yeah,
Okay.
I saw a bunch of people like totally entrenched big industry people being like, "Oh, cool, that's new," and I was like, "No, it's not. What are you talking about?" It was actually kind of surreal. I don't want to call anybody out specifically, but I was watching the E3 streams with industry people talking over them, and they seemed woefully underprepared and ill-informed on stuff. They were like, "Oh, Xenoblade, is that the sequel to Xenogears?" And it's like, dog, you can't think that. What are you talking about? And it's like, in the Metroid announcement, they played the Metroid Prime theme, and the number 4 popped up, and they were like, huh, what's that? I was like, you idiots, it's good. That's the Metroid Prime theme. And then, of course, the name did pop up after that, but it's just like, it was pretty frustrating to watch some of that stuff, and I don't know, now I'm just being an arrogant asshole. Look how
You
smart
could have
I
set
am.
them straight, Austin. You could have showed them the way.
There's nothing in there but bragging, so I'm gonna veer off.
But you know what? We've retired from that life. We're done with it. They can't pull me back in. I'm off the streets now. You hear me?
All right, so let's rope Leon back into the last 10 minutes of this program with some questions.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, Jessica Sims asks, is saying a movie, TV show, etc. is overrated a legitimate criticism?
It's not a criticism of the film. It's a criticism of the fan base of the film. I mean, like, let me put it to you this way. Let's pretend this movie exists in a vacuum. No one else has seen it. You have seen it. When you're writing your review, you literally could not say that this movie is overrated or underrated. So your criticism of overrated or underrated is about how other people are rating the thing. You're talking about people. I mean, is it a thing?
Stop
to say?
liking this so much.
Is it a thing to say? Maybe. I mean, maybe if you look at a list of the 100 best movies of all time and you think number 1 isn't that good, then that's a topic to discuss, I guess. Like when Sight and Sound does their best movies ever, and you're like, I don't know, Vertigo was great, but best ever, and then that's a topic to have about whether something is rated correctly. But yeah, you're discussing the people, you're discussing the fandom.
So you're saying would it be appropriate for more like a retrospective than perhaps a review?
Yeah, I mean it's a topic to discuss about something's placement in like movie history. This isn't just about movies. I'm just using that, but it's appropriate to talk about its place in the history of the medium, but it's not. You're not actually commenting on the inherent value of the movie. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I can accept it as a preceding statement that is hopefully then followed up by an explanation of why it is overrated, but you can't just say, how would you rate Goonies 2? Or, there was no Goonies 2.
Don't tease me.
Yes, there was. It's a video game.
I'm sorry. How would you rate
That's not a joke, by the way.
How would you rate Critters? Your definitive statement cannot be it's overrated, because that doesn't it doesn't place it anywhere either, like it's just like it's not here, that's like the old Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy joke about the map of the galaxy that's like, you are here, or like you are not here, or whatever it says, or something like that, and it's like, oh, all right, at least that's something. Yeah, it's not a qualitative statement about the work. It's just like explaining what it's not. This is not the greatest work of art ever.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I mean, but I have had stuff ruined for me by the fan base before, so it's not like it's not useful to know certain things. Like if I was like, "Oh, you should play this online game," and then you don't mention to me that the player base is like toxic and awful, I would be like, "You didn't inform me well." But I agree that like in a vacuum, like the ideal platonic review wouldn't really bring it up. But yeah. Next question. JJ Hernandez says, favorite Star Trek episode from the original series? This feels like a very Leon-centric question.
Oh, the original series.
The only one that comes to mind is that one where Spock gets so horny he almost dies.
He had the Ponfar, Austin. That means that, you know what? I don't even want to get to it. But anyway, he literally had to mate her or else he'll die. That's a thing that they have to do. God, I'm dumb. God, I'm just a big dork. Favorite episode?
But Leon, he didn't actually have to. That's something the writer made up.
Oh my. Favorite episode? I like the one where Kirk is on trial. And the episode sort of goes out of its way to make you think that Kirk, like, the evidence against him is so like almost irrefutable at first that even though I know Kirk is not a bad person, like, watching that episode like years after it was on, I was like, wait a minute, did Kirk do this? Like, because they have like video evidence of it, and then like there's more. So that episode was really good. I love the one with the gourd. It's always good. It's always so good. I guess those. Yeah. I don't know if Johnny, you want to jump in with yours.
I don't know. It's been so long since I've seen the original series. I'm struggling to remember. There's the one with like the one with like the second Kirk, where he gets the double or something because of the transporter accident or something like that.
Yeah.
That's a good one, just for Shatner's performance.
Yeah.
The Tribbles episode, of course, is a classic, just because it's like it kind of embraces the goofiness that the original Star Trek kind of had, that, you know, I feel like got lost in the Next Generation and beyond. They started to take themselves like super seriously, but there was a lighthearted goofiness to some of the original Trek that was good.
I like his reaction when the Tribbles just fucking flatten him when they come out of that overhead compartment.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that? That was good.
So, yeah, you know, I mean, it's tough to call. It was kind of like it was all over there as a series. And like I said, it's been a long time since I've sat down and watched the original series. I always smirk to myself whenever there's one that takes place, weirdly enough, on an Earth-like planet.
What?
You know,
they also became Nazis. What?
Yeah. What? They also had an Old West.
It's like, hey, doctor, we have to go to modern-day London for reasons. Weird.
Yeah. That's always kind of good for a laugh. But yeah, best episode or favorite episode? I don't know. I like those ones. The ones I mentioned. Those are classics. But
I like it when Spock gets horny. Next question.
And of course, when Spock gets horny.
Yeah. So I don't know if you want to answer this, but Consumerist Skeleton says, how's the feature-length episode coming along? I can't wait to post a comment on it.
Eat my dick. Eat my entire dick, Consumerist Skeleton. You never will.
The whole thing?
You might eat my dick, but you won't be able to do a comment. I mean, the other one's negotiable. Anyway, so how is it going? I'm going to look at my outline right now. What was the most recent section I did? Oh, it was on the Antichrist, and how that's not really a thing. I don't mean it's not really a thing, like, if you don't believe in it. I mean, it's not really a thing.
It's a misunderstood concept, like Satan.
Yeah, I read like really elaborate explanations of why, which was fascinating to me. I'm finding this. I too am learning as I am trying to teach others. Let's see. Of the 20 sections that are going to be in this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are done. Oh, but these 2 aren't even going to be in it. So of the 18 sections, 5 are done. So we'll see. It's gonna be hella long. I may have to cut some things just because I'm afraid I might start belaboring the points.
And also because you're gonna want to have a director's cut, right?
Sure, of course.
That you can release like 5 years from now and be like, okay, so this is my director's cut of the rapture and the opacity, the opaqueness of God.
Here's all that religious analysis that was too spicy for the original release.
Yeah.
You guys are gonna see a lot of dongs.
No, did you know in the Bible when they talk about feet, it's a euphemism for dongs?
Oh my. Okay.
True fact.
Okay. Before we go, I just want to lay 2 things out for you that are on Twitter. There are certain benchmarks that you reach in being an internet celebrity. And one of them is when people start making parody social media accounts of you. And this is one that I have been that just popped up for me. No one told me about it. Here's the funny thing. No one told me about it. Twitter recommended it to me, and when I saw it, I mean, I realized it's because it's probably done by someone I know, and it's like has mutuals. But when I saw it, I was like, wait, and I clicked on it. I couldn't believe it. Because this is audio, I probably should explain what I'm talking about. There's a Twitter account at the Renegade Cat, and the name is Lion Thomas. And it's just me with a lion mane and whiskers, and it says host of Renegade Cat and Cat Funk. Doesn't
and
have
also location.
I recognize those followers.
Yeah. So that is a thing that happened to me a few days ago that I wanted to share with you all. And the last thing I want to say, because I realize we're running out of time. A few weeks ago, you guys were saying like, what would it take what would you show your friends to get them into wrestling? And I had trouble like trying to figure out what each of you would be interested in. But here's the best thing I've seen in professional wrestling since coming back to it. It is this, and I will just tell you the audience what it is. The Miz, who is a bad guy, had to get a partner for a tag team match, and he didn't know who it was going to be. And it turned out to be a man in a bear costume riding a tricycle to the ring. And he takes off his sunglasses the way like Dr. Grant does in Jurassic Park. He like can't even believe this was happening. I couldn't even believe that it was happening when I was watching it. And this isn't even the best part, because during the match, the commentators could not help making a lot of bear puns that we would make. And it was the greatest thing I've ever seen. I'm sure if anyone wants to see the entire match, you can find it on YouTube. Just look for Ms. Bear, and it will be there. It's just wonderful, and it's so pure.
Someone in the wrestling hierarchy is trying to get that sweet furry cash. It's a lucrative market. Definitely high quality fursuit out there. I actually got a lot of wrestling questions. I know we're out of time. I just want to say that I have no way to vet them because I don't know anything about wrestling. So someone could be like, "Ask Leon what he thinks about the Shamalama Ding Dong match," and I would just read it, and I wouldn't know if it's real.
Just do it rapid fire, and I can do it in like a minute or two. Then we'll finish up there.
Okay, Rick Armstrong asks, what do you think of the DIY storyline and the homosexual undertones to it?
Oh, you know what? That's happening on WWE's developmental program called NXT, and unfortunately, I don't have the WWE Network right now. I'm going to again. Yeah, so my friend has it, and that's how we watch the pay-per-views. But I'm not caught up on NXT. I'm sorry. I do now. Now that's all I want to watch, though.
Okay, I'm glad that meant something.
Yeah, no, it's real.
Okay,
They are a tag team.
Cyretha asks, who do you think will win Money in the Bank ladder matches this Sunday? Women's and men's.
I don't know who's going to, but I would like Shinsuke Nakamura to win on the men's ladder match. And on the women's side, that's hard. I don't want to say Charlotte because that's so obvious, you know. But yeah, actually, you know what? But she should anyway. She just should. Yeah. But for those who are wondering what that means, Money in the Bank ladder match means that there's like a bunch of competitors in the ring, and they all fight each other to try to get a hold of a ladder. And then they climb the ladder and they grab a briefcase, and inside the briefcase is a contract to a championship match, and they can cash it in at any time. The joke is that what really happens is, since they can cash it in at any time, they wait until the champion is beat up, and then they just say, I'm cashing it in, and then they just, like, knock them out with something when they're already almost dead, and then they become champion. It's very... It's
almost dead?
Yeah, they just destroy... Basically, when someone's, like, already, like, they can't even move, like they just had a match, someone says, the person who has the briefcase, like, appears out of nowhere and says, I'm cashing it in, and then they just, like, punch him in the head, and then they say, start the match now, and then they pin him, and it's great. Basically,
so
whoever
wrestlers are like Pokemon, right? When they run out of HP, they just faint. They don't actually die.
Sure. I mean, if that's helped you with this
It
scenario.
does, thank you.
The thing is, yeah, whoever wins is like, there's like a 99% chance that they're going to be champion eventually. So it's like a big moment where someone like becomes a main eventer. And that is any other wrestling questions, or should we go?
We should probably go. There's always time next week. I'm sure someone will try to slip one past me, and that'll be fun.
Okay.
Yep. Thanks for hanging out with me, guys.
Before we chill, Leon, I just wanted to mention that one of the games that Ubisoft announced at E3 is a VR game that's being co-developed with Spectre Vision, which is Elijah Wood's production company.
Ooh.
And it stars Macon Blair.
Oh, okay. Well, that's cool.
Yeah. So I was like, Elijah Wood's making a VR game. Yeah. That sounds interesting. And then I watched the trailer, and it was like Macon Blair was doing this bit. That's like, okay. So I was like, that's Macon Blair.
Yeah.
And I made a face that sounds like I would have made that noise with that face.
Yeah. I like Macon Blair, and I think Elijah Wood is sexy in a shy kind of way.
So I'm interested in that. We'll see how that happens.
Yeah, I would actually be interested in that VR corner. All right. Anything you guys want to say right before we go?
Yeah. The new Planetarium album from Sufjan Stevens, Bryce Dester, Nico Mully, and James McAllister. I want somebody to take it and make it into a blanket so I can wrap myself up in it. I want to snuggle that album.
I can't follow that, so.
That's fine.